Hello everyone. This is going to be a great story about how I happen to live every Pennsylvania bow hunter's dream. Oh. What? I'm right up here. This doesn't happen. This doesn't happen.
Oh, this thing is a stud.
Alright. Oh my god.
How big is he?
He's huge. He's huge. Oh my god, Dad.
Alright. That's Connor.
Yep.
Since that day, time has moved differently. Life's been more colorful than ever, and the likely actual course of my life has probably changed forever. Very humbled and grateful to share the story with you today. So let's go back a little bit. I want to talk about my spring turkey season. So let's go back to about mid-May of 2024. So my brother and I were in central PA. We're chasing birds. We're on public land. We're on a game land, and we're chasing this really aggressively gobbling turkey all morning, like all through the morning up until like 9:30. It just wouldn't close that distance, and I might have overcalled a little bit, but that's besides the point. The bird finally shuts up around 9 a.m. and we sit down and against the tree, start to have a snack, and my brother's head slowly falls into his lap and he falls asleep into a nap. So I'm sitting there, not really alert, but I have my shotgun across my lap. Everything's good, and I've been calling a little bit. We just had a bearded hen come right by us, so I'm looking around, I'm being observant, and I look over to my right and I just see a flash of black like cross through the woods, just like 20 yards right to my right. And I'm like, what is this? Like, I think it might be a gobbler coming in silently to my calls. So I kind of get my shotgun ready, and I look over, and this thing becomes like 4 or 5 feet tall, and I'm thinking, is this a human? Is this like some dude dressed in black on the game land? And then a chill went down my spine as I saw this thing's head, and it was just a monster, like probably 4 or 5, I don't even know, 600-pound black, maybe not that big, but a huge black bear just coming right up this creek crossing about 23, 25 yards away. And I just pulled out I nudged my brother awake. I'm like, there's a huge bear right there. And it just kind of continues on and makes its way up, and that was that. It was just an awesome encounter in the spring, and that was one of 2 really big bears we saw this spring. And black bear is the only thing I've really never specifically targeted in Pennsylvania. So just seeing these creatures, the way they moved, they're so big, and just the way they moved with such swagger and stealth, it was awesome. And the subsequent fall, I began to make plans to potentially hunt these bears. So yeah, in the latter part of turkey season, we always make a trip up north, like real north PA, and we meet up with our friend, our landowner. I won't mention him by name, but we meet up with our landowner, who is also our family friend, and he has a nice chunk of land to hunt on, and we've been going up there for turkey. So that was the second black bear I saw. We saw a really nice black bear while we were hunting turkeys there, and man, it was just just another big bear encounter. And I was just like, does this happen? Does this happen to people? Like, I'm seeing them all over the place. So I just thought that was super cool. And so the subsequent fall, I get in touch with Mr. Landowner, and I just have this gut feeling that if we're gonna see a bear just throughout the whole season, it's most likely gonna be during the archery season. Due to them being low pressure, it's low hunting pressure in mid-October, and the bears are in full swing hyperphagia, which means they're feeding for up to 20 hours a day. So I just kind of looked at my chances, and I was like, if I just seeing a bear would make the trip, and during the bear season, if just seeing a bear would make the trip. So I just had this gut feeling. I'm like, all right, I'm talking to my dad. I'm like, let's just go up for the first 4 days during the week of the bear archery season in PA, which is the first week of October 20th, that week. And the landowner, among many other people who lived up there, said we ought to wait till the muzzleloader season or wait till the rifle season where you have much better odds. But I just had this gut feeling that if we were at least going to see a bear, it was going to be during this archery season. So now let's flash forward to the actual hunt, October. We drive up that Sunday and we meet up with the landowner and my friend Connor, who works for a landowner. And Connor and I, we just got back from hunting out west. I was doing some calling for him. We got close. We actually saw elk, so that was real cool. And so we're all together. We're meeting up the night before, kind of discussing the plan for the week. And the weather forecast is not looking too good. It's hot and dry. That's not exactly what we wanted for animal movement. But this is where the critical decision on where to go and where to sit and where to plan our tree stands and whatnot went into. So I figured with this hot weather, there's a medium to small size pond on the landowner's property tucked way back in this timber, and immediately to the north of this pond there's a bunch of north facing thickets. It kind of drops off after this pond, so there's a bunch of north facing thickets, some mountain laurel, like nice pines, real thick stuff that a bear might like. So I hypothesized that these bears, if we're probably going to see them, we're probably going to be lurking in this cool north slope area and accessing to get a drink of water. And this was our best plan. So north facing slopes with nearby still water, that was our plan. So the next morning, which is Monday, October 21st, we all meet up at the access gate on the north end of the property. And my dad, the landowner, they kind of go off in their separate ways. We kind of coordinate it. But Connor and I, we stick to our plan, and it's spooky now looking back at it. But while we were walking in there, we were whispering to each other in the pre-dawn, before sunrise. And I said, Connor, this is probably either gonna be a really easy hunt and a real short set, or we're gonna be here for 4 days and not see anything. And I was really anticipating the latter of not seeing anything. That's a Pennsylvania bear for you. But we kind of laughed at that, and just looking back, I'm like, wow, it's kind of spooky. So Connor continues up this ridge about another 300 yards, and I drop down into this north facing slope. Sorry, about 200 yards down, and all of a sudden it's 20 minutes after shooting light, and I just can't find a tree. This is like a jungle, and I can't find any lanes. Like, my shot would be like 10 yards. So I finally decide on this maple tree where I have some decent lanes, but I only got 3. I have like a very mobile saddle system, and I only got 3 Skeletor sticks up this tree, because if I were to go any higher, like all these branches and everything, I wouldn't be able to shoot down. So I had like some decent shooting lanes from this tree. And I'm up in the tree. It's that gray light. It's like 20, it's 20 minutes into shooting light now. I remember that. And I'm finally set up. I'm looking around, and don't even wear my GoPro. I don't worry about doing any camera footage. I'm just worrying about hunting. And I get to looking around and using my binos to glass. I'm still being very vigilant, waiting on something. And it's funny, like a bunch of stumps look like black bears. So I was ready. I was looking at stumps. I was like, is that a bear? I'm like, no, we're good. And then about 40 minutes after sunrise, I hear like a faint noise, like not like a deer coming at me, but just a faint, like kind of off noise towards this real thick patch of pines directly to my like northeast. And then all of a sudden I see just a massive black head appear over this little ridge, and I see his front paws, and I'm like, oh my god. I start to reach for my bow, and I remember the first thing I thought, I was like, this is a giant bear, and it's bear season right now. Like, you better get it together. Like, I'm starting to sweat a little bit and panic, and this thing, he continues to go away a little bit, and I'm like, oh no. So he continues to go away, and then so the bear continues to go away a little bit, and I'm like, no, please come back over here. And in their usual unpredictable fashion, this bear just kind of turns about 180 degrees and starts coming right my way. So I'm now about to get the full draw, and the whole time I'm just like, I cannot believe this is happening. Like, I'm looking at the bear, I'm looking at his vitals, I'm just like, this is like a 600-700 pound bear I'm looking at right now on my first time ever bear hunting. So this bear, he travels along. He's coming broadside at about 36 yards. I was ranging trees in the early morning. He's coming right through, and I get the full draw, and I stop him. I go like, man, like I make a sound. I stop him, and he takes two more steps and gets right behind a pretty decent sized tree. His vitals are completely blocked, and he looks right up at me at about 35 yards. That's where he's at right now, and I'm just sitting there full draw, and he looks right up at me, and I thought for sure it was over, but sure enough, he's just going like, he's just looking up at where he heard that sound, and this went on for like a minute, him just standing there, and I'll show you in the video, but he continues in this patch of really young trees, and I have no shot in that, and if he were to continue to go straight, he would have, I never would have gotten a shot, and he probably would have head up towards where Connor was. But this bear basically did a semicircle around me, and so he started turning right to the right a little bit and coming at me broadside again. But so I like completely am turned around now in my saddle, and keep in mind this whole time I've been at full draw. So I have a 75-pound Matthews compound, and it's starting to roll over on me. So I fight to get it back to full draw. I'm back. You know, my muscles are getting fatigued, but I'm back. And I start to just select lanes on the fly with yardages, just doing it in my head about where this bear is going to walk. And, you know, the bear's coming, and I just remember the tension of that moment. That bear was coming, and man, he was just huge, and he took that step and right into my lane, and I really yelled this time. I said, man! The bear stops on a dime, and, you know, I'm pretty good usually. Like, I've taken a lot of deer with surprise release, just focusing on that pin and just slowly pulling through until it goes off. Like surprise release, it shocks me, it's really accurate. This time I just guesstimated he was about 40 yards, and I had my 40-yard pin so on him, and I knew I had to get this arrow out. So I open looped the shot, and I just sent it right through at 40 yards, and I just remember the fletchings, the orange fletchings of my arrow going right into the center of his body. And he didn't really make a noise or anything. He just kind of ran off, but I heard a good thwack, and that's how I shot it. So I got the usual adrenaline of like buck fever, deer shakes, but this time it was just like on steroids. So I'm like basically almost gonna fall out of my tree stand, and I'm just starting to process what happened. Like, I'm just in total shock. Like, this just happened. It doesn't seem real. Like, the bear's gone. This doesn't seem real. So now it's like I don't have any reception, and I left my handgun in the truck. So I'm getting a little nervous. I wait an hour. I'm starting to have those negative thoughts creep in about possibly making a bad shot. Like, you know, it happens in bow hunting. So I get down about an hour later, and I go up and look for blood. Try to find my arrow. I can't find anything. Maybe I was just so micro-focused on the ground that I just couldn't find anything. But I finally get a bar of reception at this point, and I call Connor, who's about 400 yards away from me, and the first thing he says is, did you shoot something? I heard you hit something. And he said, he asked me if I shot a deer, and I said, no, dude, like, you need to get down from your stand right now. And as I'm saying that, I'm like looking up, and he's not even 40 yards from where I shot, and it's just this massive black void on the ground. I'm like, I got him, I see him. Man, I put the phone down. I said, he's continuing to get down, and seriously, it was probably the most surreal moment of it probably will be the most surreal moment of my entire hunting career, walking up on that bear. I had my pocket knife open and my compound bow in my left hand, and I just slowly walked up to it and just touched its eye with my broadhead just to confirm it was dead, and then I just lost it. It was, you know, it's kind of heavy killing something that big, and it was just awesome. So from here I start calling my dad, start calling the landowner. They start coming, and it's just that everybody is just in shock that this happened. I mean, you got to think about it. These bears, especially a male bear like this, he has a massive home range, a massive, massive home range. And him and I just in the intersection of chance, luck, and time met up, and that was that. We tried to start dragging it out, the four of us, and Connor, my friend Connor, he's a workhorse. He's pretty damn strong, and I don't consider myself weak. I hit the gym. My deadlift and squat is decent, but we couldn't budge this bear an inch. We couldn't budge it an inch. So the landowner says, enough of this. I'm gonna go get the ATV, get the tractor, and we're gonna have to do something here, because this bear is just we can't budge it. So what we end up doing is we end up taking my saddle, my actual tether, and wrapping it around its neck, and we attach another rope to its neck and put it on the ATV, and then we kind of can drag it out this way. So we got it to the nearest road on the landowner's property, and loaded it up on the truck and on the tractor, excuse me. And this bear fit in the whole 7-foot bed of this tractor. So it just kept getting more mind-blowing how big this thing was. So from here we take some pictures and field dress it, and just a day I'll never forget, that's for sure. So from here it's the next day, and the landowner had a walk-in cooler, so we were all good with the meat, and I was really looking forward to eating this thing and everything that comes with that. I'll get to that. But so we load it up in the truck, get some ice for it, we envelop it in a tarp and ice bag so the meat stays good, and we get to the check-in station. And initially we were told there was a miscommunication at the on the Game Commission hotline, which told us to go to a certain location, but we had to bring it all the way down to another location where we were checked in. So that caused a little bit of a hiccup there, but no big deal. And so we got to the weigh station. I'm like, how much is this thing gonna weigh? The night before, every beer we had, it went up by 25 pounds. So we don't really know how much this thing's weight is, like 375, 400, 425. And so we get to the weigh station, and we see like two smaller bears being weighed, and they're like 140. So I'm thinking, like, just relative to the size of these bears versus mine, I'm like, I only have a 500 pounder here. So I'm hooking it up. I'll kind of run through the footage of that, but we hook it up to the weigh scale, and sure enough, I think it was 485.6 what it weighed field dress. So I'll just add another 18% of that to estimate all the blood and organs within it, coming out to 573 pounds, which is just mind-blowing. And at the time, it was the second heaviest bear turned in statewide. I believe there was a 600-pounder in Pike County, or something like that. And obviously there were bigger bears harvested during the rifled and muzzleloader seasons, but just the way everything happened, no bait, no hounds, just pure luck. I mean, it really is luck for bear. I mean, you gotta admit, it is luck. But and with a bow, it's just it just keeps getting better, and I just am extremely grateful this happened, and everybody who helped me. I could not have done it without the help of the landowner. Let's just put that out there, obviously, and just everybody who has believed in me and my hunting adventures up to this point. So just very, very grateful, and very exciting that this happened to me. So I was very skeptical about how the meat would taste, and I had mixed reviews on the meat, and man, the meat is just outstanding. I've been fortunate enough to try elk, a lot of not moose yet, but a lot of different species, and man, this bear, my entire family and extended family agrees as well that this bear just tastes really, really good. It tastes like the cleanest grass-fed beef you could possibly get, and we have just maybe like 100 pounds of just fat. We've been rendering it down and using it for all types of things. I've been cooking my eggs with it every morning. It's just really tasty, and you know, I flintlock hunt too. Like bear grease and flintlock hunting to waterproof your flint are like the most traditional, one of the most traditional things, and that's what the mountain men used bear grease for. So just overall, I'm just over the moon, and we're currently waiting to see if the skull is Boone and Crockett, but I'm fairly certain that with the age of this bear and the condition of its teeth and its age, I'm fairly certain it will be a Boone and Crockett bear, but that doesn't even matter. I'm just glad the meat tastes good. We were able to get the meat out, and you know, I'm getting a full mount of this thing, so just yeah, I'm just very grateful. Alright guys, that's pretty much gonna wrap up this story here. I don't regret that I didn't film this hunt. I think it all panned out the way that it should have panned out, and if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching. It really is unbelievable that this happened. Thank you.